Oh, hi, welcome to another episode of Anecdotal Leaks, the Zoo School Logs. This is episode 3, and we're going to be focused on why Astrid Jacobo was not fired, the connections, and the people that are protecting her. Okay? So, she came from Truman High School. While she was at Truman High School, she had the position of AP for ESL. She had about 161 freestanding L students. This means that they were ESL students. They were in dual language or just like freshly here. Borat also worked at this school, who is the current AP at Urban Assembly Wildlife. Her principal at the time, for the years that Jacobo was there, did some shady stuff. In 2013, the principal was caught and exposed for hiding and changing data on the school surveys and telling the students to rate it higher. Although the students were forced to, they didn't really want to. She then announced her retirement after this scandal, and the CSA came in and said, you know what? We're going to give you a position. And they promoted her to CSA. CSA is the union for the administrators. But it's more than just the CSA. It's also the ADASA. She's also affiliated with that organization. We'll get into more details in a second. This here is taken from the 2010-2011 CEP. This is evidence that they did work with each other. I'm sure you can find some more online. Now you see, when she became a part of the CSA, they promoted her to Executive Director of Field Services. Okay, so she's affiliated with the ADASA, and also now she has a high-ranking position in the CSA. So at Urban Assembly Wildlife, we had Tia Primus and TJ. They both were not tenured into the position yet. They were IA, and they both needed their C30s. The person at the time to approve their C30 was the superintendent. So Astrid Jacobo was working with Advance and the teacher college and various other programs with the DOE. She wanted to get back into the school system. So they figured, well, we have these two individuals that we could easily deny and remove and put her in power. And that's exactly what happened. Now, the reason why they chose our school, because not only because of the individuals were easy to remove because they weren't tenure, but it was a successful school. We just finished having a real successful year in our data in our region scores, algebra, ELA, social studies, and earth science. Number 1 in the district, baby. So all this data took us out of a focus school. So they figured, well, this is a school that all she has to do is just be a body in the school and everything will continue being successful. While Astrid Jacobo was given that position, they brought in her friend Borat. But when the situation happened with Matthew McCree, they took her out. And they promoted, they should have fired her. But they promoted her to the Bronx Field Support. This is one of the individuals that is protecting her. This individual here. This is why she's still in the New York City DOE. They have a connection, but her connection doesn't end there. It goes deeper, from what Amber and Anna told me. Let's keep going on. And remember, while she was at Wildlife, she broke down every single pillar of support, the extracurricular programs, Blue Engine, my club. We had a nice comic club and gaming club, Mr. Roman's Kung Fu Club. Oh, everything. She said, oh, there's no money for that. When that was straight up like there was an extra $200K lying around. So when this happened, she came in with the rest, with some members of the CSA and the ADASA, and said, we're going to have to do something. And they said, well, let's make her Bronx Field Support. So now she's Bronx Field Support. And the purpose of Bronx Field Support is to help schools, help the administrators in the school, and help teachers in the school. Now, how can she do that job successful if she couldn't do her job and she was inexperienced as an admin at Urban Assembly Wildlife? If she couldn't support the teachers there, and more importantly, the students there. You know what she was able to do there? Hide the reports from scheduler that were going into ORs. Firing a few teachers, but moving 40 teachers out of the school in a year and a half. Moving the college counselors out of the school. Moving the IP support, the tech support guy out of the school. Moving the guidance counselors out of the school. That's what she was able to do. That really backfired. These are the individuals that are part of the CSA and also at the same time part of the ADASA. Most of these individuals, I'm working on a dossier to track all the information for each individual, and I'll show you. Most of them are really been in really messed up situations in the New York City DOE. Like this gentleman here, Jose Jimenez. Now they changed, they used a different name. His principal name when he was in the New York City DOE was David Jimenez. J. David Jimenez. Yes, that one. The same Jimenez that beat up his teachers, that he was a sex fiend in the school, that had 2 or 3 sexual harassment cases going on with staff members, that was caught cheating and changing data on the June 2008 New York State Regents. But instead of removing him from the school system, they promoted him. There is a correlation with that. They don't remove, they promote. Let's go to Borat before we go to Astrid Jacobo again. Now, while Borat was an AP, he was never certified. He never got his C30. So he was demoted back as a teacher when he came into Urban Assembly Wildlife, which worked well because all along their blueprint was to remove TJ and get Borat into that position and then get his C30. Which they weren't expecting, that because they were removing all these pillars of support and bringing all these new faces, that there was a consequence. The students were revolting. The students were misbehaving. And then we know what happened. I'm going to make a hypothesis about Borat right now. This is my hypothesis on the screen. Number 1, because you see they're connected with the CSA and also the ADASA. But not just there. We'll go next slide, we'll go on. My 2 hypotheses is they're going to find a way to ship him to a buddy school where we could connect the dots again, that they're all connected, and he will get his C30, or he'll get his C30 while at Wildlife somehow before the school year ends or the school closes. I'm just calling that right now. This is the superintendent at the time that denied Primus his C30. Now, Primus was able to have programs in the school for all the students, FIPS, Blue Engine. We had Turnaround for Children. We had the comic and gaming club. We had a movie club. We had the Kung Fu club. And then the sports teams, baseball, basketball. So that was all under his belt, part of his resume. Besides bringing the data up when Mr. O left, and besides bringing the school out from being a focus school to a non-focus school, which is very hard to do. And in a year or two, a year and a half, under his tenure. When Jacobo came in, she had nothing under her belt besides working at Advance with this lady, working at the Office of Teacher Effectiveness with this lady, working alongside with this lady in ESL programs in the city. She said, you know what? You're my friend. I'm part of the ADASA. I know people in the CSA. I'm a superintendent. The chancellor gave me this position. This school is a good school. He's an AE. He's an IA principal. Let's get him out for you. That's what happened. All these people worked hand in hand. They worked in all these programs together. They're putting in their own people. Just want you to know that just because they're in your circle, Pichardo or Kobo Ball, right? That doesn't mean they're in your corner. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to always be following your careers on paper. And whatever school you end up or whatever program you end up, I'm going to make sure everyone knows as a scarlet letter until all three of you are outside the New York City DOE. And if you retire with the DOE or any connection with the DOE, I'm going to still continue doing this. And as you see, when you shake people and you give them hugs, they move to the side because they know you guys are snakes. You all are snakes. Rest in peace, Matt. There were red flags. You all knew there were red flags. You all were forcing the deans to not report to ORS to make your data look good. Nobody else did that. You guys did. Did you learn that at teacher college? Did you learn that while working at Advance? I think you guys did because there's a history of all those individuals coming out from the ADASA and the CSA that are from both organizations, skewing data, hiding data, manipulating data. That's a lot. Snakes slither together. This is not something that's new. They were taught this. Thanksgiving night, I have a special anecdotal live reading. It's going to be a time of giving.